Hi, my name is Sarah Nance, and this is my presentation on cultural diversity at Eagle Crest High School. Eagle Crest is located in the Cherry Creek School District, south of Denver by about 10 miles. We are a very diverse school, and I'd like to talk about that today. Our school is made up racially of it matches our current census data, and so we are primarily white students. Then we have a large black population, followed by Latino, and then Asian and other. There are a lot of different religions practiced at Eagle Crest, predominantly Protestant and Catholic. We also have a large Mormon population. There's about 20 other religions practiced at Eagle Crest as well. As far as languages goes, there are over 60 languages spoken at our school. We have 48 students in our ELS program, students who do not have English as their first language and are in a support class for that. 50% of students say that English is not their first language. As far as gender and other, 51% female and 49% male, 18% on free and reduced lunch, and we do have a significant immigrant population. In thinking about how diverse Eagle Crest is, I wanted to look a little bit more in depth about what our students say. I wanted them to talk about, are we accepting of others, and what they hear and believe and see in our hallways. Are all people welcome and thriving, and what makes us a place of tolerance and acceptance, and what could we teach the larger community? So in order to do this, I interviewed 6 of my students. I included 4 of their interviews in this video. These are juniors from my AP Lang class, kind of a nice cross-cut of American culture in my classroom at this year. So I have their interviews along with some quotes from some articles I researched to support how they identify. We talk about some ways they've been stereotyped for better or for worse, and about how Eagle Crest is a place of acceptance and what that looks like. Enjoy! First up is Simon.
My name is Simon Frimpong, and I'm African. My parents come from Ghana.
And Simon, how do you think your African culture influences how people treat you here at school?
Usually people, when they first see me, they don't expect me to be very intelligent. They see me as a minority and someone who's may not do well in school, but as they get to know me, they really do see that I shine as a school and as a group. I feel that people are really accepting of me.
So you think that people... Okay, and we'll just quickly cut over to Lorelai as well.
Hi, I'm Lorelai Ulip, and I identify as bisexual.
And so, as a bisexual at Eagle Crest, Lorelai, are people at Eagle Crest accepting of your gender? Sexuality, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they are. I never experienced any hate for being bisexual or like anything like that. But there are a lot of questions, I guess, that come up with, especially bisexuality, because it's not like on one side or the other. It's like kind of just in the middle. So there's a lot of awkwardness, like sometimes when I tell people, but there's never any hate.
So what would a school like that look like that was totally inclusive and accepting? When you told people that you were bisexual, and even though you don't get any hate, and if it's, how would you kind of challenge those awkward moments, I guess?
I think a school that would be more accepting, or that would look more accepting, would just simply be available for discussion. I think it would be more natural and it'd be more organic to just ask questions, or even to an extent that you don't have to ask questions, that you simply just take in who a person is, and there's no second guessing about it.
Okay. And could you talk about maybe 1 or 2 people at Eagle Crest who have shown you what it's like to be accepting?
I remember my freshman year, my English teacher, Mr. Fine, he never outwardly said that he was accepting of homosexuality or anything like that, but the way that he ran his class was the epitome of just a safe space, almost, which sounds so cliche, but I remember going into that classroom and instantly feeling like there was no pressure to fit inside a certain box, and that I was just completely free to learn how I want and also be who I am.
Great. Okay, we're going to quickly cut over to a couple more. This is Claire.
Go. Hi, I'm Claire Hendricks, and I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And Claire, I just wanted to ask you today, being that you are a white Mormon female in a school that is so diverse, how has that shaped your views on others that you go to school with?
I think definitely a lot of people see me, I'm definitely very stereotypical Mormon. I definitely, my entire family is Mormon, and I am Caucasian, but I think that going to such a diverse school like Eagle Crest has really helped me be more accepting and loving, and actually even better practice my beliefs in my religion, as we are mostly a religion based on love.
Okay. We'll click over to Rashab.
Rashab, I identify as being Indian.
And what are the common stereotypes for you?
Usually people think that my parents are really strict all the time and that I get straight A's and I'm going to be an engineer.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
How do you kind of challenge those, or how do you kind of live up to those stereotypes, I guess?
For the most part, like the strict parents thing, my dad's pretty strict for the most part, as he yells at me all night, get off your phone. But my mom is not strict whatsoever, and she's like any other parent in America, as you would see. So it's not true that all Indian parents are strict. Some are more casual and some are strict. And for the grades part, I'd say I'm pretty consistent with it, with the A's part. But you have, like, we're all human, and sometimes you get B's. So, and then people start freaking out, oh, you got a B, but it's not that big of a deal. And for the most part, I could be an engineer, but I feel like Indians need to be not so fixed to what they need to be and what their parents tell them to be, because that's what the stereotype is. Oh, you have to be a doctor. I think there's like other paths of opportunities that we can take upon, like being a comedian for me. That's what I might take upon.
Cool. Okay, so just a quick snapshot of some of my students who have different identities and different views on acceptance, and I have plenty other ones to bring in, but those were some key ones that I researched and students I worked with. So in thinking about how we can make Eagle Crest an even more inclusive place and how we can sustain a culture of acceptance, I researched some ways that all schools can do this. So we all need to be intentional with creating those cultures of acceptance, and that looks different for everybody, but making sure that we have programs and structures in place to create those cultures. We also have to model respectful interaction, both between adults and students to students. Videos, book talks where different people from different kind of walks of life are respectfully interacting, and we can share those on social media or put it part of our schools' homepages. I've seen that done a couple times. I think talking about current events and talking about them frequently, about crimes in America and elsewhere, about what happens when people who don't agree or see eye to eye on things clash, and how we can avoid that. School is the best way to learn about how to avoid things like that. We need to add diversity to our curriculum. Lorelei kind of talked about that, about seeing it more frequently, so it just becomes part of the culture. Supporting student initiatives when they want to take action against some injustice or band together, to come together about things in our nation. We need to support that as administrators. We have to address instances of hate language slurs immediately and appropriately, and make sure that all students know that the school is not a place where we tolerate that, and nor is society. We have to celebrate students. We need to dedicate time and energy to celebrating students who come from different walks of life, different cultures, different languages and religions. And I think a lot of that comes with developing school pride at its most basic level. Here are some of the references I used for this presentation. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you.